you've carried here. Is it too much for us to receive?
All right. I liked what you said about your children not having phones in church, and what you told them about, the only engagement you can do in church is to listen and to sing along, to clap and dance along. We have also formed the habit of not giving our phones to our children. In fact, they rarely ask for my phone because they have become used to not having, our phones. Yeah. Once in a while, they may ask for it for things that they used to learn. But even the things they used to learn, they don't access it frequently on our phones. So I may have to start from somewhere. Um, we had to make a conscious effort. There are recent discussions around technology and children. Recently, there was a conference we followed that had a 30-minute or so presentation on the impact that the internet technology and the media is having on our children. Like you rightly said, virtually every child, wherever we find ourselves, has a phone. They're watching videos, they are playing games or doing something, fidgeting with a phone.
TikToking.
Yeah. During service. What I think this brings, if we go into church, for instance, the children do not participate in church. So it shouldn't be surprising that they grew up and they are not interested in church. They have been sitting there with us, but they haven't participated. So they have not been there all along. Yes. And so what do we have to say about how we handle technology regarding our children? It's a distraction. It's an easy way out. Yeah. It distracts them. We get our peace of mind. You can sleep if you want to. You can focus on your studies if you are studying. You can do something, cook. You get rid of them. They sit behind these screens, and then you can do what you want to do. What do you have to say?
Well, I think I'm very guilty of that, I must say. Not do you know what? It's when you are at church, you are heavily involved in the running of the service. For example, myself and Elder Derek, doing his own stuff, me being at the front singing. Our church is already quite restrictive in the sense that they don't allow the children beyond a certain point. So the idea is keep your children with you, let them sit next to you. We bring the tablets to the church, and most times it starts off well. But because, again, for example, we are an Akan speaking um, local. So my 3-year-old and my 6-year-old, they don't really catch on too quick. They don't really know what's going on. Okay. So they'll be going up and down. Then somebody will bring them, and your child is not sitting down with you. Sometimes maybe I'm leading worship or I'm leading praises or something like that. So I think it's the frustration of you just wanting to ensure that your child is sat there, they are still, and they are safe. They are not roaming about anywhere whilst your attention or your service is going on, whilst you are doing other things. It's very, very difficult. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. But sometimes I just feel like that's the only way to keep them still. Honestly speaking, that's the only way to keep them still, but there has to be a limit. Again, the limit in my eldest child doesn't have a phone. His phone was stolen, and I've refused to replace it. The second one does. So I can see, and you can see how much it takes. Even adults, look at how much our phones takes our time, because there are so many things happening. You move from one thing to the other. It's difficult. It's a bad habit that needs to be broken. I agree. It's a bad habit, but I think it's so difficult as parents, especially when you are both parties are heavily involved in the running of the service, and still trying to keep four kids, to sit there and be still. It sometimes feels like it's impossible. But yeah, please, I'm all ears if you have any ideas for me.
Collins.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I'm very passionate about this topic, this particular question, because I see that there is a way out, and I see it working in my kids. Um, okay, so let me put it this way about technology. So the question specifically was about technology and the kids. So yes, it does have benefits, but I believe it has to be put within boundaries. Now, this is what has helped me. I realize that when the kids come to church, they want to be engaged, whether in church or wherever you find yourself. Even at home, you want to be in the kitchen, and you feel like giving your phone to your child because that's the only like way out. I realize that it's because the child wants to be engaged. And I'll pick on what you said, what Fred you said two things more. You quoted the Proverbs 22 that train up the child. It's so real. That is one. And then you did mention a quote about someone having the ability to grow six or X number of children in different ways if taxed to. Now, I believe that we have every responsibility and actually every right to direct or to guide or to channel the interest of the child. So what I do, and that is what it has helped me, is this: that yes, I know my child wants a phone. He sees, or they see children like all over the place with phones. Sometimes they are all clagged around like a tablet. And then I get into a conversation with them that, do you know what they are doing? He says yes. They are playing a game. Okay, are you able to play a game back home? He says yes. Okay, what is it? Do you want to play a game now, or you want to listen to something that is going on that you might never get the opportunity to listen to again? So I actually engage them in a conversation, and I have done that to the point where when we are in church, they report other children with phones to me. And I'll give another example: TV watching. So there is something that we have done at home, and it's now works that subconsciously they do it without even thinking, that Mondays to Thursdays no TV. You only watch TV on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays up to 12 p.m. Now, after the 12 p.m., it's not very strict because sometimes you do have visitors, the TV is on and they come around. But it has gotten so much into their subconscious that when they come back home, they tell me about friends who watch TV all the time. And funny enough, some of these friends are watching things on phones. He says, my son came from school Sunday and he said, Daddy, did you know what? My friend told me something so naughty. I was like, what happened? He said he was playing a game, and then in the game, a girl removed all her dress and started swimming. And then the other one too, he took his daddy's phones and he saw some people kissing. I was like, really? Then I engaged into these conversations. And then he says my friends are all watching bad cartoons. And I tell them to watch PBS Kids. Then I engage in the conversation. They don't know how nice PBS Kids are. I said, Daddy, I don't even understand why they don't enjoy it. Then so it's about a constant conversation that I have, and sort of not just conversation, but negotiation, and drawing the attention to the benefits of it, and actually demonstrating the benefits to them thereof. So I have intentionally, for instance, guided my child's interest, my kid's interest into music, because that is where I find myself. And that is, again, one of the mysteries that I'm still trying to understand, that a child is only exposed to what the parents are exposed to. And so beyond what you're exposed to, it becomes difficult to expose the child to a different thing. So I've had people working to me to say that, oh, I want my kids to learn to play instruments like the way your kids are sort of learning and also playing the instruments. I asked the parents, do you have one instrument at home, or are you willing to sit behind a keyboard, behind a guitar with your child on YouTube teaching? They go like, I don't have the time. Then obviously you're not going to have the time to teach. So I think the point I'm making here is number one. I believe so much in engaging in conversations with the child, letting the child know why A should be done and B should be done or done less, and then understanding the child's perspectives and going into some kind of negotiation and demonstrating the need why the child should go in a particular way. I do allow my children to use technology. For instance, I've introduced my child to programming using games. So he does play games, but from a programming perspective, and he's excited about the knowledge he learns. He gains from doing these things. And see, trust me, the children, when you when you demonstrate the value of something to them, they are excited. I remember we were in the car coming from town the other day, and we decided to talk about what our kids like about us. So my wife asked, my son is called Paco. Paco, what do you like about Daddy? Say, Mommy, Daddy, he always teaches me new things. He's always making me learn new things, and I go to school and I talk about it, and you're asking me how I know, blah 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 blah. And he values it. He values it more than conversations around cartoons and all that. I think I've spoken at length at this topic. Sorry, because I'm so passionate about it, and I believe that it can be done right. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Collins. So it's doable. It's possible to get them to take some break from technology. In our home, I even tell the kids that TV is on break. The same way you take a break, the TV is also tired. TV is on break. So yeah, we also learned this from my elder sister. Mondays to Fridays, no TV. The little one, because she's 3, or even before that, yeah, before she turned 3, it was difficult because little ones, they always want some screen time.
She wasn't going to school before.
Yeah, so she was at
So
home.
she would watch the whole week.
Yeah, so it was difficult trying to get them all no TV during the week. And gradually, now they've gotten used to it. So they come back from school, get their lunch, have their lunch. And then from there, they know that the TV is not going to come on. So they may as well get themselves preoccupied. So they take their books, read, play amongst themselves. And I think some of these are one of the things that is lacking now in our homes is our kids playing amongst themselves, because they are so engaged with other things that they don't play with their siblings. So even if you have friends over, you turn on the TV for kids, they watch a movie or something. But I'm sure back in the days, our parents, they meet with their relatives. The kids are there. They find something to do. They engage with something. They do role play. They do pretend play. But now I think all these things are going down, which isn't so helpful. Yeah, I don't know if Fred wants to add.
Yeah, I think whatever a man sets his heart to, he can achieve it. This issue of children and technology, it's a dilemma. It's dicey handling, dealing with, and we cannot judge any parent who's struggling with it. That would be very unfair and unrealistic. Yeah, but I think that those who have succeeded need to show the way. Like Collins has shared his example. Yes, this is how we have done it. So they don't watch TV. They don't watch anything during the week. When they're on break from school, like half term, yes, they can watch TV throughout the week. But otherwise, it's just weekend. And initially, they would ask, but they got used to it. The same way Collins says that the children got used to. But you see, what I have realized is society is forcing certain ideologies on us. It's forcing certain positions on us. Now, so society wants us to believe that it is impossible to keep or to engage children without certain things. So maybe we've also become robotic. We're unable to think outside the box because it comes in handy. It comes in easy. Yeah. I just, in some homes, we may have 3 tablets and then the parents' phones. So we have 5 gadgets. So if we have 5 children, even interestingly, none of us has 5. So if we have 4 children, there's enough to share. You give everybody one and then you're free. You can be in the kitchen for 2 hours, cook their meal. As soon as it's ready, you call everybody to table. Yeah. When you have well into church work, and so you have a message to prepare, you're going to preach a sermon, you're going to teach, you're going to lead Bible study, you have worship to lead, and you're preparing. All these times that you need alone, these are things that can engage the children for you. And so it helps us. Let me be honest, it helps us. But the things that we've heard about how technology engages our children and the detriments it comes with, the things they're exposed to, the risks involved, It's important that we even deny them some of these things. Yeah, take them away from them. And so we have to start thinking outside the box, thinking about ways we can engage the children without depending on some of these gadgets. Yeah. And some of the things we can do when I go out to shop, sometimes I deliberately buy books. I bought books for them to be using for their studies. Before I knew it, Nana, the first child, had drawn in all the pages. Something I thought I was going to have to teach them little by little over a certain span of time. She's filled writing books. She's filled the whole thing with drawings. And fortunately for me, I bought extra. So I can just hand them their books and tell them to go and write. The children can write well, but I just hand them their books when I can't engage them, sit with them and tell them go and write. So they're improving their handwriting when I cannot engage them. When I can engage them, I may be teaching them something specific, addition, subtraction, whatever. And then sometimes when I want to engage them on the screen, I've seen this program on CBBS, What Do You Know? So I open What Do You Know for them. And then they watch, and then I ask them questions about it. Other things that I do, when we are coming from school, they may have heard something in school, they may have seen something in school, and then they ask about those things.
How is it made?
How is it made? And so we come home, then that day they will watch something on YouTube. So it will be that thing. But I'm engaging them so that at the end of the day, they are learning something from it. When we keep our gadgets from them, if it's something that you are starting, it may seem like impossible. But when you have tried it 1, 2, 3, let's say you do it for a week, you'll be amazed how successful you have become. Yes, but that's the point where every parent must start a journey towards. I make the decision, I make my mind that previously or as of now, I've been handing my phone, my tablet to the children to engage them. But I want to take the gadgets away from them. And if I'm going to take the gadgets away from them, what else can I engage them with? Now, I decided to get my first child, she's 6 now, the first one, to read the Bible, Genesis to Revelation. And she has an old Bible, a children's Bible. Every now and then she will pick the book and then read. The Bible and read. She hasn't gotten anywhere, but at least that is one way she's engaged. Frida's friend, a friend of Frida, sent her a podcast called Papa's Bible. And, every evening they would ask us to tell them stories. Sometimes we would run away, from telling them stories. But at their bedtime, they are asking for stories. We couldn't do it all the time, but we tried. Sometimes I made stories up, imagination, creation. I just give them a story. It doesn't come from anywhere, but they get a story and they'll sleep. They will insist on a story. So when we heard about this Papa's Bible stories, sometimes I'm working night or I'm working late, so I'm not home by the time they're sleeping. Frida started engaging them with these podcasts. It's about 30 minutes, 16 minutes 16 minutes thereabout, averagely. And so we place it with them. And while they are supposed to be sleeping or getting into sleep,
winding down.
Yes, it's playing and they are listening. I think the little one did not listen much, but even she got a lot from it. One afternoon, Frida was busy, whether she was working or she was in a lecture. And then I took them to our bedroom. We sat on the bed and I decided to engage them. I asked them what they've learned from the Papa's Bible stories. And then I asked the little children. She said, I don't know. I don't know. And then I told her, you can't tell me you don't know. What have you learned? I insisted. We spent a long time on that. And then she started, chipping in 1 and 2 and 3. And the things she said gave me that assurance that she had learned something. I went to the older one, the second one, and then he said certain things. But the things that the first one, the eldest, said was amazing. They were amazing. It means that she pays attention to what she was listening to. So society has just bottled us in, and we're unable to identify ways to engage the children apart from what society has told us to engage them with. Yeah, but that is why we need to share amongst ourselves. If we do share, then everybody learns something. Like we've learned from Collins, like we're learning from what we're sharing, like we've learned from what Beatrice does. So we then develop more and more ideas. Maybe to conclude on this contribution, one of the things that my father used to do, he used to take us out. Once in a while, we would go for an excursion. So we would pack the car with food and drinks and everything like a picnic, and we go for an excursion. So we could go to a zoo. We could, just think about it. Excursion. We're going somewhere. We're going to see something, sightseeing, and these are ways where in which we built a bond. We're in a family car, all 7 of us, mommy, daddy, and 5 children. We're all in the car. We travel wherever we're going, whether it's an hour's drive, 2 hours drive. We enjoy ourselves there, sit down and eat, and then come back. Yes, there are indeed countless ways we can engage our children, apart from what the gadgets can do. And so we cannot, if you want to zero gadgets, if you want to do zero gadgets, you'll be able to, but it may not be very realistic. So we'll give our children the tablets, but we can minimize it to the barest, and so it may even seem like they never touch gadgets, yeah, but there are countless other activities, other things that we can engage the children with, that will even develop them better than what the gadgets are doing. Like Collins' example, his children's mates are watching things that they shouldn't be watching. They're watching things that even adults should not be watching. They are being exposed to things that will mar their conscience, yeah, probably for a long time or even forever. Yeah. And so it is possible. Let me say it is possible. And let's just start. It may be difficult from the beginning, but they get used to it 1 week. They may throw tantrums, but after 1 week, after 2 weeks, you'll be amazed how successful you have become.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So we're going to move on to discipline and boundaries. When I invited Collins to join us, he did ask a question about, because geographically, because he's from Ghana and we are here, maybe parenting will be different. I think we can start from there. So when it comes to discipline and boundaries, do you think that it's going to change geographically? So people in Africa, people in the West, do we discipline our kids differently? Since we have Collins on here, Collins can share his experience, and then Beatrice can also continue.
Okay, just to be sure I understood the question, should disciplinary measures be different across geographies?
Is it different?
Is it different?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have heard things about the UK that there are like legal restrictions to how you can discipline your children and everything, and how different that is from Ghana. For me, I think it's about, I believe so much in conversations with children. So, in as much as there are legal restrictions on how to, say, discipline children and everything, if my son should find himself in the UK today, I am definitely going to first thing is to reorient the kid's mind. Let a child know that there are actually these restrictions, but know that you are in the home or the house of the daisies. That is why I made a point about like home being home. I believe in discipline, but I believe in in doing it right. I believe in setting the boundaries right, and I believe in disciplining the right way. I don't believe in. Okay, I would not put myself in a position where succumbing to the disciplinary measures put by a government in another country affects the upbringing of my children. I don't know if that makes sense. So I will not if I know that abiding by these rules under my own I hope I'm putting this right. Oh yeah, I think I'll just repeat myself. I will not succumb to the regulations or the rules of a country in another geography that affects the upbringing of my child. Yeah, that I would not do. I will set the boundaries and I'll make it clear. Like I said, I love conversations with my children because I realize that it works. So I'll make it clear that this is what is existing in this land. You would actually go to school, you would see your friends behaving this way, saying these things. Their parents probably will not react. You will see your children saying that, hey, if your dad tells you A, B, C, D, know that you can report. And I'll let a child know that you'll hear people saying that, and they're actually lost to back what they're saying. But you know that we are unique people. That is something that I keep driving into the minds of the children, that we are unique in every sense. And so and it should and a function of that also happen being successful is the ability for the child to believe what you're saying, that indeed you are unique. Because one thing I keep pumping into the child's mind is that, like, trust daddy and mommy for their style of training and their style of upbringing, because it's going to make you unique. And actually refer them to the fact that today they are unique among their peers. So then I put it to them that, can't you see you are different? He says yes. Why do you think so? Is it because of A, B, C, D? And I'll give an example. My children, they have like this at school, they have this extracurricular activities. So there is music, there is coding, there is this. It was difficult for my child to choose one because he had been exposed to those ones already at home. He ended up selecting programming in school, and then the students in his class were going to perform. He was called into the music class, and he was like, "Oh, daddy, I can even play the thing more than those who are learning." And so they said I should come and lead the band. I should come and lead the band. And this for me is unique. And so I keep drawing his mind to that fact that daddy and mommy has a purpose for bringing you up this way. And so when we tell you that, your friends will actually tell you that, hey, you have a right to report your parents when they do A, B, C, D. Your friends are going to tell you that, but know that daddy is still doing it because of A, B, C, because he still wants you to be unique when you grow up. Yeah, so I believe in that conversations, and I believe in setting the boundaries and letting the children know why you're setting the boundaries, and letting them trust that indeed you're setting the boundaries for their own good. Thank you.
Yeah, Bro Collins, I totally agree with you. I think in the beginning, the foundation is always important. When the boundaries are set right from when they are little, it's easier to straighten them. Discipline is really important. And I always say there is a difference between abusing a child and disciplining your child. There's a vast difference. If your child, I remember there was this hairdresser who, she was a Nigerian, and she said she took her little one to the salon, and she was doing someone's hair, and I think she was messing around, so she smacked her bum. And then she said one of the customers said, another Nigerian lady told her, oh, don't you know that in this country we don't beat children, it's abuse, why are you abusing the child? And I said, well, anyway, for me, that's not abuse. Abuse is, intentionally wanting to cause harm to your child. Disciplining a child and letting them know that what they are doing is wrong is completely different. And I think we are too quick to use this word abuse, abuse, abuse. And some people get really frightened by it. Therefore, they will not even touch the child at all. Um, Again, with my own kids and my own experience, for me to reach that point where I actually need to smack or hit you, that means the rope is finished, because I will just keep giving it to you and giving it to you and giving it to you. And they know. And I think my eldest has even picked it up so much that when he sees that my tone is already changing, you can see he'll start warning the younger ones, guys, go and sit down. It's okay. Because they now know that they are getting to the boiling point already, and they know that when it gets to the point, and God being my witness, I cannot even remember the last time I had to hit them. I can't remember. It's been that long. So it's something that I do very rarely. And when I do it, it hurts me more than them. I mean, sometimes I cry. My husband is asking me, why are you crying? I said, I'm crying because it hurts me that I had to get to the point to do this, because that's not what I want to do. And I think because I have set the boundaries right from beginning, and they know that for mommy to have gotten to this stage, we must have really pressed her buttons quite a lot, So I'm sitting here, then minding my business. Then the letters will start coming, the apology letters from nowhere. This one will bring his apology letter. This one will bring, and they are sorry for what they've done. So they are not even complaining that I've hit them, but they are rather sorry that they forced me to get to this point. um it's all about communication, and when that does happen, I always say, communicate to the child. Let them know, sit them down. Do you know why I had to hit you? Do you know why this had to happen? And explain to them. And then, in the end, they apologize and I apologize. I'll say, look, I'm sorry that I had to do this. Let's try, and next time, let it not get to that point. And I mean, raising boys, my goodness, raising boys, all boys, is a different ball game altogether. I tell you, it's a different ball game. And as I said before, every stage and its own challenges. When they are below that age 10, it's very easy to manipulate them around. Past age 10, when the hormones now start kicking in, and it's testosterone we are talking about, so they say, oh mom, now I'm up to your shoulders, mom, I'm now here. I said, it doesn't matter. If you misbehave and you're taller than me, I'll still climb the ladder and still slap you if I have to. So they will be laughing. So it's really difficult, but discipline, boundaries, it must come in right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. And as my brother Colin said, we must not let the rules or policies of this country, for example, frighten us, because that is the Asians, the Chinese, they are very strict parents, extremely strict. And they are one of the people whose children do extremely well academically, So it is not that they don't smack them. They do smack them a lot. I used to work in, Whitechapel, all Asian, Muslim, they are very strict with their children. But it's all because they set the boundaries. You know not to cross it. And when you do cross it, you know the consequences of it. So I think as I don't know if it's an African thing, whether sometimes it's the intellect or if it's the ignorance. I don't know sometimes what it is, but I think we then take it as too far. Kurom ha deɛ yɛmmɔ akwadaa, you don't touch a child, you don't do this. Hey, yɛnte akwadaa o. Akwadaa ka kyerɛ ne maame sɛ, oh mom, shut up, cry. Hey, kurom ha nkwadaa. Na say na no te ase. They actually find it funny, but it's not. It's all about discipline, and it's the love that you show them. When you show them so much love and these instances happen or these incidents happen, they know it is not you. They know that it's not what you do on a regular basis. They know this is not abuse. They know mommy is angry. They know daddy is angry. And for that to have happened, they understand, because 90% of the time you show them so much love, care, and attention. So when it does cross now, it's makes them a bit steady that, hey, I think we're going too far. So discipline is very much important, and setting the boundaries as well.
So, thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. If we're not careful, we'll go on and on and on. We may have to draw the curtain, but definitely we should revisit this, look into other topics. For instance, Beatrice just mentioned love. We can major on loving our children. Yeah, have a full discussion on that. So we'll set another date and then look into some other things. I believe that if parents get it right, a lot of our problems in society will be solved. A lot of our problems in the church. Well, this video may not go to only people who are Christian, but yeah, I've mentioned society. But yes, specifically, a lot of our problems in church will be solved. And so let me give you each a few minutes to wrap up on what we have discussed this evening.
Yeah, I'll go first. So, Beatrice wraps up finally. Yeah, I would say it's so parenting. It's no doubt is a difficult task. I should admit that it's tough. You face different challenges, both internally and external pressures, as has been discussed. But I believe that with the right attitude, with determination, with persistency, it is possible to get it right. Yeah, and definitely, for me, like I said, the God factor is key. Thank you.
What I would just like to say to end this is that no one is born a parent. We are all not born to be parents. It's a gradual process. It's a learning process. I think what people do that helps them, what people did that helped them, is what we all need to, take on. We just need to explore and experience various forms and types of parenting styles and skills. I think as we are all learning, as we are all exploring, um, we will get to that point where we will be parents who even our children will look up to us, and hopefully by the grace of God even bring up their own children like that. It's not an easy task, but again, by the grace of God, we will all overcome and be good parents and have wonderful children.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Would want to appreciate you having taken time off to come and then have this discussion with us. And these insights you have shared, I believe, will help ourselves and many others who will watch these videos. We'll definitely call on you again to have a further discussion on this parenting thing. God bless you richly.
God bless you.
May your
Bless you.
barns be filled.
Amen.
Every
Thank you
God
very
bless you
much
so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you.